The Rocks pirate crew were perhaps the strongest pirate crew of all time. On that crew are 3 people that held the title of a Yonko, and the rest of the crew was a mosh pit of legendary pirates. But the most important person on that crew was still Xebec, because not only was he the captain of the crew, but his goals and ambitions most likely shaped the future. What up everybody, my name is Zach, welcome back to the channel. For today's adventure, we'll be exploring the topic of the Rocks pirates, specifically Xebec and how he shaped the Yonko on his crew. What was Rocks like as a captain? How exactly did he put this monstrous crew together? Did his goals and ambitions impact Kaido and Big Mom and what their goals are? And what about Whitebeard? What was he doing on the crew? Was he always the good person we know him to be, or did his experience on the Rocks pirates really change and develop him? There's lots to discuss, but first off, the King Pirates crew is now over 33,000 members. If you're new to the crew, make sure to say hi in the comments, and if you're not yet part of the crew, hit that subscribe button and join us on this adventure. But let's get into this discussion around Rocks, because despite how late he was introduced in the story, he's easily one of the most impactful characters. When we were first introduced to the Rocks pirates, it was absolutely shocking how many strong and legendary people the crew had. But the most impressive thing was probably the captain that gathered all these people together. And based off the information we have on Xebec, he might be the strongest and most terrifying person of that crew. When Rocks was first introduced by Sengoku referred to him as Roger's first rival. And not only that, but he also might have been Roger's greatest rival. So based off of that alone, that is some insane portrayal that I think puts him with like Prime Roger and Prime Whitebeard as some of the strongest people of all time. And that makes a lot of sense, because in order to be the captain of that crazy crew, you definitely had to be strong. But the next question is, how did he get that crew together? Because it's one thing to be stronger than the rest of those people, but it's another thing to put them all together and make them into one crew. And one explanation some people might say is that Rocks was just this terrific leader and had these crazy leadership skills. He was super charismatic and had these crazy ambitions, so he just brought everybody together. But I feel like based off of what we know about Rocks, that just doesn't feel like the type of person he was. Instead, I subscribe to the theory that the Rocks pirates were created through Davey fights. That's right, that silly ass game from Long Ring Long Land might be the way that this legendary crew was created. That just feels like a thing that Oda would do. And not only that, but it also makes a lot of sense, and there's evidence pointing to it as well. First off, when you just look at this crew, it feels like a crew that was just thrown together through Davey fights. There's definitely not a lot of chemistry there. People literally killed each other within that crew. So it doesn't really feel like a crew that Rocks like really thought about, oh, who could really mesh well together, and individually went out to recruit these people. Instead, it does feel like he just went to the strongest people he could find, challenged them to Davey fights, defeated them, and brought them into his crew. And besides that, the biggest piece of evidence is that the Rocks pirates, their home base was Pirate Island. And it just turns out that Pirate Island is the place the Davey fight originated from. So I think putting all that together, this is the theory that makes the most sense, and it will be a great tie-in to Long Ring Long Land, which in my opinion is the worst arc in the story. And again, this would be another way to really hype up Rocks and how strong he was. Even in the Foxy Davey fight, the last round was a combat round. So eventually they had to duke it out, which would mean that Rocks defeated all these strong people. And now that I think about it, I wonder if the Rocks pirates and the Roger pirates ever had a Davey fight. We'll save that for another video so we don't get off topic, but that's a really interesting thought. But yeah, back to Rocks. I think everything with his portrayal and how he gathered this crew together really speaks to how strong he was. But the thing that made him really interesting and terrifying were his goals and ambitions. Rocks wasn't just trying to become the pirate king, he was trying to become the king of the world. And it seems like he did anything to try to accomplish that dream. He even went against many world taboos, to the point where the world government is even trying to cover him up. And really the vibe that he gave off was this really violent, villainous, strong person that just did anything he could to accomplish his dream. And the interesting thing to think about is that environment that he created on his pirate crew, how did that impact Kaido, Big Mom, and Whitebeard? Especially with like Kaido and Big Mom, we know how hot-headed and arrogant they are. I'm sure initially they tried to rebel against Rocks, but just got their ass kicked over and over again. I can almost see like an Ace and Whitebeard situation with Kaido, Big Mom, and Rocks. But eventually I'm guessing they got to a point where they knew they couldn't defeat the guy and probably kind of respected him. And I think when you look at Kaido and Big Mom and who they are today, their experience on the Rocks pirates definitely had a major impact on that. Let's start with Big Mom, because she actually has a flashback that fleshed out her character a lot more. And from that flashback, we learned a lot about her current tendencies and why she acts the way she does. She's afraid of being abandoned because of her parents and also what happened with Mother Caramel. She's also kind of like an overgrown child because she didn't really have parental figures. And then of course there's her dream of wanting to have everybody in one place with no no discrimination, just having a good time. Which, by the way, if you're having a good time watching this video, drop a like for the YouTube algorithm. But yeah, as far as Big Mom's character and motivations go, definitely a lot of that is influenced by her childhood. But as she grew older, she definitely developed into a very untrustworthy and violent person, and I think her experience on the Rocks Pirates definitely had a lot to do with that. Because the thing with Big Mom is that to this day, she's still a big baby. Even though she was in her 20s when she was on the Rocks Pirates, she was probably still very easily influenced. And if you think about it, the Rocks crew was this very violent crew. It was kind of like survival of the fittest. Everybody just killed each other, friend or foe. And now when we look at Big Mom, she's very untrustworthy. She betrayed the Vinsmokes and will betray Kaido. She's incredibly violent as well. That's really her answer for anything. So with these type of tendencies, I definitely think her experience on the Rocks Pirates had a major impact. And honestly, out of all the Yonko members on the Rocks Pirates, Big Mom might have been the least influenced, because we also have somebody like Whitebeard who feels like he doesn't belong on that crew. When we first found out about who was on the Rocks Pirates, Whitebeard was the biggest surprise. Not only because he's another monster that was on the crew, but with his personality of just wanting to have a family and being a really good guy, it just didn't make any sense why he was on that pirate crew. Now of course, if the Davey back theory proves to be true, that could be a reason why he joined, but you also have to wonder, like, how did he act when he was actually on that crew? Did he actively try to leave? Did he also do bad things like the rest of the guys? And honestly, this makes me very interested on what type of person young Whitebeard was, because one of the main reasons Whitebeard wanted a family was because he never had one. He was born in this war-torn country that just had violence all the time, so it wasn't like he grew up in a great situation. I'm sure he was a little rough around the edges. So maybe it was a scenario where Whitebeard, when he was younger, was super violent and just kind of did what he did to survive. And maybe even when he was on the Rocks Pirates, he kind of just went along with things. But maybe eventually, as time went on and he started seeing like crewmates kill each other and all the crazy things Rocks was trying to do, he kind of developed this need and want for a family. I feel like this definitely can't be overlooked, because this could be some major character development for Whitebeard, especially if you think about how it could connect to the Blackbeard thing of Blackbeard killing a own crew member, and Whitebeard was in a crew that did that all the time. And honestly, there's a number of different ways Oda could go with this story and really develop Whitebeard's story arc a little more. But finally, let's talk about Kaido, who might have been influenced by Rocks the most. I'm dying to see the Kaido backstory, not only to find out about his origins, but his time on the Rocks Pirates. I feel like that was a big development moment for him as well. Now to fully flesh this out, we're gonna have to go into some manga spoilers, so anime onlys, check this video out, there's no spoilers in there. But for Kaido, there's definitely a lot of little things you could look at that might have been influenced by Rocks, even starting with how his crew operates as like this survival of the fittest. Kaido's crew operates as a meritocracy. It's a survival of the fittest. The people are the top, are the strongest people, and if somebody else is stronger than them, they have a chance to move up. Also, Kaido likes to recruit strong opponents even after he's defeated them, and even when you look at his crew as a whole and the whole Smile project that he's incorporated, it's very clear that he wants everybody to be very strong in his crew. And I think that's pretty clearly inspired by the Rocks Pirates and how strong their crew was. The Rocks Pirates was kind of the same thing, where you just had this mosh pit of very strong people, and people just kind of killed each other within the crew. It didn't really matter. It was kind of survival of the fittest, only the strongest survived. And now you look at the Beast Pirates, it kind of functions in the same way. There's also no loyalty as well. Queen literally just recently shot a bunch of Beast Pirates. It's just a gathering of a bunch of strong people. It's the survival of the fittest, and there's absolutely no loyalty. The only real loyalty within the crew is to Kaido himself. The Tobiropo members and the Calamities, they don't give a damn about each other. Matter of fact, they're trying to kill each other. So I think in terms of how Kaido has structured his crew, is definitely inspired by the Rocks Pirates. But also there's Kaido's ambition as well, and how he wants to start this crazy great war. He's also now teaming up with Big Mom and wanting to go after ancient weapons and going after the One Piece. There's still a lot of details to be really fleshed out about that, but based off of what we know so far, I can see it tying to what Rocks was trying to accomplish. And honestly, I have a feeling that out of all the Rocks Pirates, Kaido probably looked up to Rocks the most. At the very least, we know he respects Rocks' strength. When he had that moment with Luffy and started thinking about the 5 strongest people off the top of his head, Rocks was one of those people. And one of the most interesting things to me in the recent chapter was Kaido's dialogue about belief in somebody that's dead. While he was directly referring to Luffy, I feel like that might have been hinting towards Rocks and his relationship. And if we want to get into some really crazy wild theory territory, maybe Kaido wanting to die has something to do with Rocks. There's a ton of questions with this relationship, which is why I'm so excited for that Kaido backstory. I think with that backstory, we'll probably get more information on the Rocks Pirates as a whole, and that way we could see some of the relationship between the crew members like Kaido and Whitebeard, because that in itself is another major question. What was the relationship between the Rocks Pirates members? Why was Kaido going after Whitebeard during the Marineford War? Well, to find out, make sure you subscribe because we'll be talking about it in tomorrow's video. Thank you guys for watching this video. Check out the King Pirates Elite in the description. But otherwise, check out this theory video I got right here on the Rocks Pirates goal at God Valley, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace!